Hello, everybody, and welcome to Build with DIMO. Today, we're talking to one of our partners and a supporter of DIMO. It's a network called Streamr. So, Matthew, Jarno, welcome today. Can you tell us a little bit more about Streamr?
Sure. Just a very brief introduction about myself. I'm head of ecosystem at Streamr. Been at the project for many years. Engineering background, and what is? I'll actually pass over the mic to Jarno first to introduce himself.
Sure. So, hello everyone. Name is Jarno Marttila, and I'm a development engineer at Streamr. Also been here many years. And yeah, I'll just pass it back to Matt. So let's dive into the topic. You can smooth the ground.
Yeah.
What is Streamr?
What the hell is this thing? That's a good question. There's many different ways to communicate what Streamr is. I like to these days call it a peer-to-peer data streaming protocol. It's quite easy to understand. A bit like BitTorrent, where if you used it back in the day or still use it, you basically connect to a set of peers and download chunks of a file. With Streamr, it's a little different, where you are actually broadcasting streams of data or messages to one another inside a mesh network. So the Streamr network itself is designed around the PubSub model. If you're not familiar with PubSub, it's basically data publishers that push into a centralized broker, and that centralized broker is in charge of distributing out that data to any interested subscribers. Of course, in a decentralized world, this has to be reinvented, and this is like the beginning origins of what Streamr is about. So instead of that centralized broker, we have decentralized that into a mesh of nodes, and those that mesh interconnection basically makes it possible for those messages to move from publishers to subscribers in a decentralized way without any central parties that can kind of tamper or kind of break down or, you name it. So it's a decentralized network for data streaming. Did I miss anything, Jarno?
No, that's about it. It's kind of a mouthful. Like sometimes there's so much to talk about it. So that's the challenge, and there's a lot of depth in the solution itself. So maybe like if we approach it from like where do we use it, where does it work the best, then people might get the idea that okay, so this is where it starts to shine.
Thank you for that background, guys. And my understanding is you guys have reached an important milestone this year with the 1.0 network launch, which DIMO is already using. Could you guys tell us a little bit more about that as well?
Yeah. So the 1.0 milestone launch is kind of feature complete streamer. 6 or 7 years in the making. Big long list of features that were included. The top three that come to mind for this like final milestone, which were quite the big update, was the DHT, the distributed hash table, which replaced the tracker model that we had in the previous milestone. The second piece would be the incentivization, so the smart contracts that connect sponsors to operators in the network that do work and kind of receive this distribution of tokens for their reward. And the third piece was the proof of relay inspection layer, which made sure that the operators were doing their work. And so, that's an important piece in decentralized networks, because anybody can run the code, and it's quite difficult to make sure that cheating is not possible. And so these three layers work hand in glove with each other to be able to create this decentralized network with a model for incentivization that can attract new node operators to a particular data streaming use case, like DIMO.
So I think it would be helpful to Matthew understand, how do you guys handle permissioning the data streams?
Yeah. So that's a great question. So this is done on the Stream registry. Basically, we have a registry of streams, and when you create a stream, you add your entry into the stream registry, of course. And that stream registry contains the Ethereum identities, the public keys of users or kind of devices, people, anything that have permission to either publish or subscribe or do certain things with the stream. And so this is the source of truth for the streamer network. So this stream registry is on Polygon at the moment. And as a user of Streamer, you would interact with the SDK. The SDK runs a Streamer node under the hood. And that Streamer node is then making calls to the blockchain, making lookups to that registry directly. And it's seeing who has access or who should have access to that data. And when a subscriber comes along, say I am pushing my car data to the streamer network, and I have given Yev permission to subscribe to that data. Perhaps he's doing something with my car and whatnot. So I've given his, let's say, yev.eth. Did you manage to get yev.eth yet?
I have not gotten yev.eth yet. I think the price is still around 400 ETH, which is just above what I can afford,
Okay, fair enough. Maybe Yevgeny.eth, perhaps. Anyway, Yev's Ethereum address, which we know he has access to. So I can say, this Ethereum address can read my data stream. And so when Yev's device comes knocking, it connects to the streamer network, connects to my node. And basically, my node says to the stream registry, hey, Yev is coming knocking. Should I do a key exchange with Yev? Because this data is being relayed over an encrypted network. Yev needs the keys to get to see my data. And so Yev needs to sign a challenge, which proves that he owns Yevgeny Khessin.eth, whatever it may be. And with that proof, I can say, yes, fantastic. So the registry says that he can, this identity can see the data. He's proven that he owns the identity. I can then send him the keys, and then he can ingest the data. And this is all happening over Streamer. I can go levels deeper, but that's the high level.
I think that's it. No, Matthew, I think that's a good summary, and I think it's a good point for us to jump into what problem does this really solve for the DIMO drivers and why we're partnering so closely with the Streamer network. So for everyone that's not aware, every car that's on the road today that is connected sends data via either JSON or some kind of a binary data. It's usually using a centralized protocol like MQTT. And that data is streamed only to the manufacturer to be stored by them and only shown to you when you open up your mobile app. You're not able to then take this data stream and share it with other applications, or, for example, in Matt's case, a dear friend who may want to see where your car is, for example. But most importantly, I think what people are not able to do is give this live data for building applications and other developers and other use cases for transportation. Secondly, one other important data point is that, actually Matthew shared this with me a couple of years ago, but there's legislation that's already live in EU that says that vehicle manufacturers and IoT device manufacturers are required to provide the data that is streamed to the manufacturer, also streamed to the user, which from as far as I know, Streamer is the only solution in the market for solving this problem today. Is that true, Matthew?
To my knowledge.
Yeah, it is true. I had a little bit peek on this EU data just before this call. Yeah, it's in force, as you said, like since January 2024, and it's like for basically everyone who is collecting data, like they have to have machine readable APIs, have to give access to users, like end users, to their data. So basically, for automotive industry, it means that you have a car, let's say you drive Tesla or Mercedes, they're collecting all kinds of telemetry from your car itself. You have no access to it, but in the future, they have to give access to it. And that's going to be quite a shift, like in the paradigm, that regulation says, at least in the European Union area, that no, you must comply, or else you usually get something with a stick, some kind of penalty fees for that. And they have now like 20 months to basically implement that. So September 12th, 2025, people have to be able to access the information and data. So that is definitely coming.
That's very interesting to know. I think we are a little bit behind on the legislation here in the U.S., but last I heard, all the auto manufacturers in the U.S. Said that similar legislation proposed in one of the states, that they have no possible way to meet this requirement. But it turns out we're building one here today, which is kind of exciting.
It's impossible, right? When they're already scooping up the data, there's just no way. It would take us years, but no, we are actually showing that it can be done. And what's sort of striking to me is that the legislation is there for a reason, and to open up that data means massive gains in efficiency, and the sharing of that data really kind of opens up a level playing field for everybody to work on the same information, and that's really critical for consumer protection and just general efficiency in markets. So yeah, looking forward to that deadline.
Yeah. Should also speed up innovation. Like now everything is siloed. Like if you want to build some solutions, then you have to go and talk with Tesla or Mercedes. Hey, want to partner with us? And they're like, who are you? We don't talk to small players like you.
Big players always take a few years to catch up, but legislation helps. Legislation definitely helps. So another segue into, how can you use this functionality that's already, I have light problems in this room here.
So being visited by a divine power, I think, actually, Yev.
I don't know about a divine power as much as an IoT device that's malfunctioning. Oh. It thinks I'm not in the room. If only the room had more sensor data available for people to openly build with, it would know that I'm in this room. So. But jumping into how we use Streamr today, as everyone knows, we launched our developer SDK about a month ago, and there was two main points of how you can actually use the Streamr DIMO integration today. So first one is around individual streams, what we just talked about how a user who's onboarded to DIMO can actually get access to the live stream data from their car. And there's actually two ways that we can do this, which is the beauty of Web3 and decentralization. So first and foremost, you can actually go directly to Streamr and use their SDK to create your own stream. If you do create your own stream in Streamr, you would then go to your vehicle ID that you've created within DIMO and set that stream as the output topic for the data. So any data that's received by any DIMO node will automatically end up on the Streamr topic, which then you can permission separately and aggregate in any way you like. You could take multiple vehicles and send them to one stream. And I think this enables the base functionality that we've been looking for and discussing here. There's also a way we built, which is slightly more optimized or quicker, I should say, for an average user, which is they're just able to call the create stream on their vehicle ID directly without specifying one, in which case they will get a stream under the demo.eth ENS, which they're able to use, but and permission is needed as well. And the second one is actually an interesting concept that I believe the Streamr team really invented, which is aggregate streams, also known as data unions. Matthew, can you tell us a little bit more about data unions and how what your guys' thoughts are?
Yeah. So aggregate kind of streaming on Streamr is about kind of to take a step back a little bit. Not to hurt anybody's feelings, but your data, my data, it's not valuable. You've been told a lie. But there is a caveat to that. If we combine all our data together, it becomes big data, and big data is very valuable. And so the vision of data unions that was, I guess, pioneered a few years ago on Streamr is for a collection of participants to all share data of the same shape into the same stream or collection of streams, and for that data to then for the access control for that data to be composed into a marketplace style contract where instead of kind of just giving the keys to my friends, you're actually providing a way to accept tokens as payment for access to that big data fire hose that contains all that valuable data. And with the power of smart contracts, that those tokens can go into a vault, and that vault can distribute tokens to everybody that helped participate in the creation of that data set. So that is, very broad strokes what a data union is. But you can also simply just have aggregated open data, which is something that I'm so happy that DIMO has leaned into with their open data weather stream. It's my favorite my favorite stream on Streamr actually. It's maybe you can speak to that, Yev. I'll probably butcher it, but it's go ahead.
Yeah, so with Web3, public goods is always a big part of our vision and our values. So one of the very first streams that we had created is the weather stream, and what it does is it takes the weather collected by the vehicle. Every single vehicle has multiple sensors on the outside that collect this data, which is in gas vehicles used to mix the gas and the air mixture, and electric cars used to help you do trip planning and knowing when the battery is heated up enough for you to drive. But we've basically by default allowed everybody to submit data to this weather stream, and developers on the other side, such as actually WeatherXM that we're talking to now, is then able to grab that data and use it to create better weather forecasts or create, I'll be honest, I don't know what all the use cases for weather exist out there, but we'll have WeatherXM in a later podcast, and they'll be able to tell us all about how they're using it.
Okay, yeah. One of the earlier ideas of these kind of weather streams, and I'm not sure if it's been implemented in any capacity, but insurance and sort of predictions. Well, I guess it just kind of all falls back to predicting the weather. But if you can predict major weather events before they happen, or maybe predict the quality of a crop, maybe you can. I'm not sure if you can look that far out. I guess there's no weathermen here, but the pattern is quite clear that you have aggregated data from the crowd. It's quite reliable, and it's used for prediction and inference to create business value.
Definitely. I'm also thinking about electric vehicles have been coming up in importance over the last 2 years, and I remember when I first started my career at GM, that was one of the first things that we had built was for EV trip planning, to be able to plan your trip appropriately, because weather does have such a big impact on transportation and when and where you charge your vehicle. So very excited to see people take some of the DIMO SDKs and the Streamr DIMO weather fire hose and build a trip planning app that takes the weather into account. We jumping into, actually, we've got a few more use cases that we've put on Streamr as well that are data unions. So one that we launched recently is actually the helium coverage quest with Moken. So that is something that's available to all of our Macaron drivers, where as they're driving around, they are actually performing real life proof of coverage mapping against the helium network. and that is a stream that is used to see who's going to be the winner of the award for who talks to the most hotspots.
Okay, so
That's cool.
you are scanning, like the most scanned is the winner.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
So it's a very interesting real world Web3 collaboration that we did between Helium and DIMO. But yeah, it's an extension of the proof of coverage model that Helium's already had, where as you're driving around, we're proving where the Helium hotspots are actually where they say they are, using ourselves as sort of the third party in this system, which is also helping to improve the security of the Helium network.
Okay, fantastic.
Cool.
This is news to me, and sounds amazing. Roaming devices are sort of the ideal proof of coverage and inspection for these DePIN projects.
Mm-hmm.
So cool.
Yeah, it's a kind of like modern version of this phenomenon called warp driving. It was like quite maybe 20 years ago, that when mobile data was super expensive and like open Wi-Fi networks were just up and coming. So people were just like driving around the city and just kind of mapping like, where can I get free internet access? It's like the next version of it, like
idea.
where can I have good signals, like top price.
Definitely. I'm excited to see what other things people build, and I'm also excited to see how that expands into the future. I think we're just at the very beginning of real world collaborations between some of these DePIN projects. There's another use case very similar to that one that I want to tell everyone about. So there's also, similar to the Helium coverage, we have the cellular coverage data. So a little bit of background for everybody. At least in the US, FCC requires cellular carriers to provide maps of how their coverage is as well, so they can prove that they've providing equal and fair coverage to everyone involved. And today, that's actually a monetized data stream. And there's a company in the US called Coverage Critic that helps users find a cell phone plan. But if you go to coveragecritic.com, they are go into settings and select crowdsourced data. You can actually get a real life map of what the coverage is in your area, and you can actually see the really big differences between AT&T and T-Mobile and Verizon. As a segue to that, another Web3 project called Roam, which is kind of a Web3. Actually, Matthew, you guys are maybe more familiar with Roam than we are. Could you tell us a little bit more about Roam Network?
Yeah, sure. They're like in one of our same offices, actually based in Helsinki, and they're sort of kind of on a similar path to Coverage Critic, where they are using the crowd to map out cellular quality, and whole bunch of other things. But I guess they're interested in the data as well.
Yeah. So we're finally going to have also similar to how we have in the in the US. Now we're going to have this for Europe as well. So we're gonna enable the perfect live data with proper user access that actually will describe where we have gaps in coverage and where we need to improve the physical infrastructure in the world, as opposed to the current world where we just read charts produced by a data scientist at AT&T or Vodafone.
Amazing. Yeah, looking forward to it. How many cars are in Europe versus the Americas, curiously?
So right now, the DIMO network is about 86,000 cars globally, and I would say the split is somewhere between 70% North America and 30% Europe to 60%, 60-40, I would say. But we've seen recently, let's say, a higher growth as well in the European Union, just because, coming back to where we started, the legislation and sort of the thinking around privacy is a bit farther along than where we are, so people understand the value much faster of what DIMO was trying to accomplish.
Yep. I have my Tesla wired up, and yeah, it works great. I'm a big fan. Yeah, also use the Trips app to kind of yeah, see the trips, see my top speed, high score, and yeah, I love it.
We haven't quite made the top speed dashboard, but if there was one, I think people in Germany would certainly hold the record
Yeah,
legally.
yeah. There should be a leaderboard. Maybe they shouldn't actually, but yeah.
We've thought about that leaderboard before, and depending on the region, it could be legal or not. Which we did do the Cannonball. We sponsored the Cannonball Run in the U.S. a few years ago, which is a race from New York City to L.A. Basically, who can make it the fastest, and their average speed is usually north of 120, 130 miles an hour, equivalent to 200, 250 kilometers an hour. So, but
Wow.
they did have an explicit ask to not actually put that too publicly out there because of legal issues. However, completely fine on the Autobahn just north of where you guys are.
Absolutely. Only speed where it's legal. Yeah.
Of course. Don't we all? So, Jarno, my understanding is that actually you guys are adding some new. Come on. the lights
Let
in
there
the
be
room
light.
turning. Yes, let there be light. My understanding is so right now the streamer network is handling binary data and JSON data, but my understanding is you guys are adding some new very interesting features around video support. Could you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, happy to. So Streamer as a protocol is basically a payload agnostic protocol. So anything binary data, you can just transport it. So a while ago, we started to experiment with different kind of things that like where could this fit? And traditionally, like as you mentioned, like it's usually used for telemetry. So it's sending like metrics, speed, precipitation, whatnot from your car device. But you could also just send like media over Streamer. And kind of starting journey, let's testing like, okay, like can we send files over Streamer? And they were like, okay, it works, great. Okay, can we send audio over Streamer? Yeah, that seems to be working also. And then we tested on like, can we send video over Streamer? And surprisingly, it works quite well. And we built this kind of a proof of concept pipeline that how we can ingest from different kind of sources like live video streams, and then put it on the Streamer network, send it from peer-to-peer, and then eat it from the outside, display it on a browser player, and then just like as you're watching, you're sharing the video stream to other people. And we did like a small prototype with you guys actually just in Eat Denver about this. So we kind of came up with this crazy idea that like, hey, like this DIMO platform is actually a pretty cool thing. So I like tinker stuff, and basically like this device like that you have, or I don't know if it's new one, it's old one. I have two here, so maybe this is the new one. So it's fantastic. So you have basically Raspberry Pi inside it, and you have Linux on there, and you can build anything on it. So we just did like this GoPro here, put in a car dashboard, connect it with the DIMO device, live streamed over the internet, and straight into Eat Denver. And that was pretty cool stuff.
There was a great demo, except for the conference Wi-Fi always cause problems. But one thing that's exciting about that is between the DIMO vehicle and device identity and Streamer's video streaming functionality, you could actually use that to build something like a Hive mapper, right? And we're we don't want to say anything too early, but it's possible that next year there might be a device type that allows you to stream video and allows more companies to build something like Hive mapper using the DIMO and Streamr tech. It's pretty exciting.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, it like this great platform. Like if you're a developer or tinkerer, like you can do all kinds of funky stuff with it. Like you have 4G, you have Wi-Fi, you have USB, you can have CAN bus access. So awesome for testing things out.
Definitely.
Yeah. It reminds me of a conversation that I had with a developer once at one of these conferences, and he was like, "Yeah, I just wish, I think there was, I forget the name of the of this IoT device, but there was kind of like this glimmer in his eye. I was like, yeah, there was this one device once, and it just let me do anything I could. And all the devices today, it's always some sort of subscription, and they kind of gatekeep all the data for themselves. They only let you kind of tinker with the tiniest fraction. But this is hardware that I've bought, but I don't really have the access that I want, and somebody else is kind of hoovering up this data, and it couldn't be more obvious or kind of more critical in the use case of a freaking car that you drive around and has so much data and kind of roaming and sensing potential. So I'm just so excited for adding as many sensors and gadgets as we can to this DIMO hardware device, and kind of getting more developers to have that excitement again for the hardware that they own.
I think so too. It's the AutoPie is a great device specifically because it's so extensible, and where I've actually been talking to a few other projects because it can act as a vehicle gateway. So it's very easy to plug in a USB dash cam without adding a new brain to the car, or even an additional weather sensor from WeatherXM, or for example, with GeoDNet adding space weather and perfect location, all using the same hardware. So it's going to be cool to see what things we can build over the next few years here using the combined functionality of live streaming and open hardware and verifiable identity and verifiable compute.
Yeah. I'm super excited to see like when's the next upgrade hardware version up and coming. Like there was it today news about Raspberry Pi, like 5, that they are working together with some other company, being like AI like functionalities. So you get like AI chip with Raspberry Pi 5, and it has like 13 trillion flops of AI power. And then if you put it inside this, then you have basically like pretty interesting computing possibilities there in the car.
Definitely. Especially if you could, in the future, extend this device to drive the car for you, which would solve a lot of problems for a lot of drivers, which would be really cool. But my understanding is you guys have actually added some AI functionality on Streamr already. Is that true?
Yeah. So just recently we launched what I've called Stream GPT. No copyright on the name. I'm sure there'll be other Stream GPTs, and I welcome them. I think this is one of the first sort of professional goes at adding this value-added AI intelligence onto Streamer. And the way it works is there's like a feeder circuit that bunny hops from stream to stream on the Streamer network. It samples the data inside the stream. It then sends that off to the smartest AI models with a set of instructions, and those models return back inference, basically saying, what is the schema of the data stream? How could we use the data stream? What's going on there? Tell me a bit of a story about the data stream, and obviously create an image. And once the AI agent has that, it kind of parks it onto IPFS, and then as any user can kind of come in and see that value added service for any stream on Streamer on the hub. And so it's a very repeatable pattern, and I hope it's repeated many times by many different people in different ways. And like what I'm really excited for is when the AI model inference game kind of levels up into video, because then you can really take a real-time data stream, maybe the weather stream or your car stream, and you could even create video inference in real time, or you could add some sort of AI intelligence to a video stream coming in. Anything is possible there, and maybe the key point is that because you have access to your own data, you can really, we as streamer don't kind of get in the way of what you want to accomplish here, and with access to the data, access to the AI modeling, you can really create some fun stuff, and that's what we love to see.
That's really exciting to hear, Matthew. And on our side, there's actually somebody trying to build exactly that.
So, fantastic.
Without getting into names, but with AI on the rise, it's automotive space is also quite interested, and there's actually a project that's using the DIMO individual vehicle data streams to create a car assistant. So using the example that Matthew actually just gave, where you're able to share your data with this AI model, and then it could help you answer questions like, what's wrong with my car? Or when do I need service next? Or what was that noise I just heard? Or, even being able to do predictive maintenance on a vehicle before it happens. But would love to have this kind of Jarvis for my car, and there's something we're very excited to enable using the individualized data streams and the AI functionality on DIMO.
What's it going to be called? Oh, Carvis. That's right.
Carvis. Jarvis, but Carvis.
Oh, Jarvis, yes. Carvis. Okay.
Fantastic.
Love it.
Great name.
Something I've always wanted for my car personally.
You didn't go with DIMO GPT?
Well, it's not us who's building it, so we don't decide the name. But personally, I'm a bit of a fan of Carvis as a play on Jarvis. Who's not a fan of the Iron Man, right?
True,
and
true.
Isn't Web3 here just to enable all of us to be Iron Man?
I haven't heard that yet, but I like it. Yeah.
So we've covered quite a few cool things between AI and video streaming that's going to be possible, between our collaboration here into the future. But what other things is Streamr working on that's going to that others should be aware of? For example, maybe other device builders or other developers.
Yeah, the big item, and we'll come out with a post about this this week, is our upcoming product roadmap. And one of the big headline items there, and something that we've already started working on since the 1.0 milestone, is this native SDK streamer client. And why that's a big deal, it's written in C++, it'll be tiny, and it will be able to work natively inside very small bandwidth and resource limited devices. And if you can imagine having Streamr in your phone, in your watch, in your fridge, in any sort of Internet of Things device, could now be a first-class Streamr node, and it could be that device forming these mesh networks with other devices, and we hope to see it inside the range of DIMO devices when it's ready as well.
We're very excited to see it. Matthew, to make sure I understand, today Streamr is very easy to run on any kind of Linux or Linux device, or OpenBSD or any of the other more powerful device types. So what this client's really going to enable is these low power, low cost ESP32 or maybe NXP based devices to be able to also join the network natively and act as first class citizens. Is that right?
Yeah, exactly. And it sets us up quite well because it's a low-level client or a low-level language bindings. We can then kind of go to any language very easily. So Python, Go, whatnot. This will all be quite low-hanging fruit. So it'll be a bit of an upgrade from MQTT, even though that works quite well, it's an exciting upgrade for the network, and I think especially bringing it into native mobile apps will be fun as well. Lots to look forward to on that front.
That sounds very exciting. We're excited to use it and bring more devices into Web3 in general, right?
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of devices that users don't own that we can migrate over to Web3 and create a much better experience for them. And I think that's an exciting time for us here.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So Matthew, with the 1.0 launch, we've talked about some of the ways developers can participate, but if you're not a developer, where can I go? Let there be light. All right, I would just back up. So Matthew, we've talked a lot about developer-focused functionality and ways that developers can start using Streamr. What are the ways some non-developers can join the network and help contribute to Streamr and data redundancy and things like that?
I think that one of the best ways to kind of support Streamr is to be a part of the broader ecosystem. So download the DIMO app and kind of use the Streamr, but not even know that you're using Streamr. That's fantastic. If you're a bit more Web3 inclined but not a developer, then there's a way for you to delegate your tokens onto node operators on the Streamr network, and that way you're providing it's very easy, non-technical, but you're providing a service to the network where you are signaling to kind of the demand side of the Streamr network, or interested kind of buyers of infrastructure from the Streamr network. You're signaling which operators are reliable, and you're doing that with your tokens, with kind of value-based tokens. And for that service, you get kind of a cut of the rewards that operators get, and the operators are there to help relay the data for these use cases. So it's all like quite a long value chain here that you can kind of enter in at any point. And you can also be a node operator as well. This is a little bit more technical, but we also have an ecosystem where there are nodes as a service. So you can kind of come in and with the credit card and say, hey, you run these nodes for me. And you just need to kind of handle the business side of your operation. So, which stream sponsorships to stake on. So the concept of the stream sponsorship, just very quickly, is to basically put tokens in a smart contract that get distributed to operators that join this sponsorship with their tokens, and that sponsorship then sort of distributes out those rewards over time if those node operators are running nodes that are reliable and kind of doing work for the network. So yeah, there's a few different entry points to kind of join in, and reach out if you need any more ideas, I guess.
I see. So today, I believe, DIMO is operating about 3 Streamr nodes in production. And my understanding is that WeatherStream is using this operator model, is currently replicated almost 170 times across other nodes. Is that correct?
Yeah. About that. I don't have the real-time numbers, but I think there are, maybe even more actually. So it could be maybe 170 nodes and 170 operators, and those operators typically run 2 to 3 nodes themselves for redundancy. So you kind of get like a multiple of that, and then it's like a globally distributed backbone network that anybody can subscribe to, and it means that Yev's servers don't get overloaded by thousands of people all interested in the same data, and having this kind of bottleneck, or if Yev slips on the power cord and and the data stream goes down, then you have this backbone of real layers to help support the load. So it's that's how stream sponsorships work. Yeah.
That's no, Matthew, that's really exciting. I mean, having worked in systems that were, at best, active passive, where you have one data center that's active and one that's waiting to come online, and then trying to move into active, it sounds like this is a leap into a completely different world where, I mean, with 170 different sponsors, it's basically impossible to take the stream down, and makes the data extremely robust and bulletproof.
Yeah. Well said.
Yeah. Very cool. Well, thank you guys for joining today. And for anyone listening in, please check out Streamr and their SDKs. And also, if you want to build something on DIMO, Streamr is integrated into our SDK as well. So if you have your card connected, you can create your stream and call the subscribe function via the SDK to get your own live data and start building an app. Thank you guys for joining today.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you guys.